Well, the national Kenya 15 side, Kenya Simba, is set to take on Tunisia in an Africa Gold Cup match. Actually, the second last match before they take on Namibia in the last one in the quest to try and maybe gain qualification for the 2019 World Cup in Japan. Well, right about now, the Tunisian side is training. They more call it a captain's run, the last training before the big game. And interesting facts to note is that the last time the Tunisian side was in Kenya, they were hammered 100 points to 10. But again, there was a concern about them traveling with a bit of an players who are not very experienced. But again, the same situation is currently happening to their squad right now in Nairobi. They again traveled with a squad that is not so experienced. And in fact, in the last weekend match against Uganda, they lost 67 to 10. If I'm right, 67 to 10 against Uganda. And now they'll be facing Kenya again in their second last match. This would be the 10th time the two teams are meeting. Kenya having an upper hand in terms of the record wins in the two teams encounter. Kenya has recorded 6 wins out of the 10 wins. The first time the two teams met is in 1997 in another Africa Gold Cup, by then being known as the Africa Division 1 Rugby, and Kenya was hammered by Tunisia back in Tunis. But again, the Kenyans picked themselves up and they have had the perfect record against the Tunisian side. While I had a chance to talk to the head coach of Tunisian rugby team, and he had this to say.
It's going to be a tough competition. We're looking forward to it. We've been here for a week now, so the guys are acclimatized. We're not scared of the altitude anymore. Yes, we're going to push them. If they want this victory, they have to work for it. We're not going to give it to them. The weather is great. We are ready. The guys are you can see them. They really want to get stuck into it. It's been a long trip for us. The guys are not used to traveling this long, so it's been a little bit difficult in the hotel, waking up, breakfast, then coming to train, back to the hotel again. There's nothing really that the guys can do outside of it. Yeah, we went to a few malls and stuff like that, but now the guys are getting really, their heads are ready. Everybody's focused, and we can't wait for tomorrow. For us, it's about keeping our momentum that we started against Zimbabwe. Against Uganda for 30 minutes, we did very well. When we have the ball, we do our work. What we train to do, that's what we try to do. So tomorrow we need to build on that. And our discipline. If we keep our discipline and we keep the guys on the field and we can be competitive, that's what we have to do. Getting a big score against you, it stays in the mind, but we've moved on since then. The guys are better, I promise you. If and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but no, we will make sure that doesn't happen again tomorrow. What happens, happens. We don't look at it like that way. It's not in our minds. For us, it's about focusing on the game and focusing on what's in front of us.
Well, confidence from the Tunisian head coach, but again, to keep you up to date to some of the things that the Kenyan side has tried to implement, or rather to change in preparation for this game and the last game against Namibia, in order to try and maybe seek that and gain that qualification for the 2019 Rugby World Cup. Remember, the Africa Gold Cup, whoever tops the Africa Gold Cup table standing at the end of the season will directly qualify to the World Cup in 2019 in Japan, and then the runners-up will then have to play repechage matches to try and maybe gain that qualification to the 2019 World Cup. The World Cup is something that Kenya has not qualified, and Kenya has been so keen in trying to secure the World Cup qualification. The last time Kenya tried against to qualify again for the World Cup, they lost it in the last match against Namibia. Kenya again had tried this similar formula, that is a try this time, trying and bringing some of the seventh player, but in the last encounter did not qualify. But again, this one, the likes of William Baka and the evergreen Joshua Chisanga coming in to try and bring some power to the squad. The team had again a second residential camp in Nanyuki, training for 2 days and having matches against inter matches against some of the 15th players in the country last Saturday to try and keep the players up for the task of trying and qualifying for the Rugby World Cup. Well, these are some of the changes that the new coach Ian African snooker has brought into Kenya. Kenya in last season, Kenya by now had approximately 200 points in the championship, but for now they have been able to record at least 111 points. Maybe not the big margins that we were able to see in last season, but maybe this might be the season that Kenya is going to qualify for the Rugby World Cup in Japan 2019.